Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for CCSSO's Inclusive Leadership Webisode series. My name is Crystal Eldridge, and I'm a Program Associate of Student Support Strategy at CCSSO. Today, we are joined by Aurora Dreger of Educating All Learners Alliance, who will be speaking on educating all learners in all environments. I'm going to quickly review our tech norms. Please feel free to engage your camera. We love seeing everyone's faces, but we do ask that you stay on mute unless asked to unmute. Please go ahead and share your name and organization in the chat so that we know kind of an idea of who's in the room. And while we will have a dedicated Q&A at the end of the presentation, you are welcome to ask questions in the chat at any time. Quickly, this is an overview of our agenda today. I want to give you some brief context around our Inclusive Leadership Webisode series. In 2018, we at CCSSO partnered with the Cedar Center and the Oak Foundation, along with the National Collaborative on Inclusive Principal Leadership, to develop an online resource for states called Supporting Inclusive Schools for the Success of Each Child, a guide for states on principal leadership. This webisode series builds on that foundational guide to show resources, foundational practices, and strategies for promoting inclusive and equitable leadership. The guide defines 9 strategies state education agencies can use to support inclusive principal leadership. I want to highlight one of those strategies that relates to today's presentation. Strategy 5, provide targeted supports to districts and schools. Some of this strategy include encourage districts and incorporate inclusive and principal leadership into existing programs, provide direct services and resources to districts and schools, and identify schools and districts that model successful inclusive leadership practice. Now I'll go ahead and introduce Aurora. Aurora is a Brooklyn-born, bred, and based educator, advocate, and ally. She's passionate about educational equity and the role of the arts in education. Aurora serves the Innovate EDU team as the network's lead for the Educating All Learners Alliance, or EALA for short. Prior to this role, she oversaw the DYCD/Compass enrichment program at Innovate EDU and spent 10 years as a classroom teacher in DOE and charter school settings across NYC. She holds a BA from Long Island University and an MA in dance education from NYU. Aurora brings the perspective of someone who's been on both sides of the classroom, as an educator and as administrative support. As a lifelong New Yorker and product of the NYC public school system, she knows firsthand the joys and challenges of learning and working in a system that is constantly evolving. All right, and now I will hand the screen over to you, Aurora.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Crystal. My name is Aurora. That was a fantastic intro and setup. It's always great to work with you, Crystal, and share our work together. So now I am pulling up. Nope, pressed the wrong button. Of course I did. Of course, today is the day that I suddenly freeze up and get a little bit of stage fright. Okay, here we go. So as Crystal said, my name is Aurora Dreger. I work for the Educating All Learners Alliance, which is part of Innovate EDU. That they are our parent nonprofit organization. I had the joy of working in their school-based program, leading their after-school, their DYCD funded program for 3 years. And now I am working with EALA as the network's lead, where I'm really focusing on growing and maintaining strong partnerships between our org and other mission-aligned organizations. I led that after-school program through the pandemic, which was lots of learning and lots of lessons learned along the way. And just a little bit about me personally, I just married my wonderful partner, Fred, back in July, and my coworker, Marshmallow the cat, might be making an appearance in this video. You never know with her. So it's just a little bit about me, and I'm going to go to the next slide. So What we're talking about today is EALA, the Educating All Learners Alliance, just what we need in the world of education, right? Another acronym. But what I hope to do today is be able to explain not just what EALA is and how you can access our resources for your work, but also how you can get involved with our community to strengthen your own inclusive leadership strategies. So EALA is an uncommon coalition of organizations committed to resource sharing and community building that support the efforts of the education community to meet the needs of students with disabilities. So we are a collection of nonprofits, a network of networks, and our primary focus is resource sharing and community building. And I'm going to get a little more in depth into that in a few more slides. Now, the origin of EALA. This is one of my favorite stories. What started out as a conference call in March of 2020 to figure out how we were going to address schools suddenly shutting down or schools going to remote or online learning. The orgs that you see there, Center for Learner Equity, Brooklyn Lab Charter School, National Center for Learning Disabilities, Digital Promise, ISTE, and Innovate EDU, they all sort of just got together and said, okay, who has resources for online learning? Who is great with accessibility? Who can activate teacher development and teacher training? And so we sort of put our heads together with all of our different areas of expertise and created so there was a lot of lists, a lot of wish lists or a lot of resource lists. And we figured, how do we get this out into the hands of people who really need it? Our educators, our leaders, our parents. And that's how EALA was born. And, one of the things we learned is that upsettingly, but not surprisingly, students with disabilities or learning differences were being left behind or left out of these conversations that we're having in the schools. Some schools were just kind of afraid to even touch this. How do I do, inclusion work through a remote setting? How do I give, student support services? How do I do OT, PT? How do I do all of that through an online setting? So EALA was born of this idea of, we have to be able to offer, equitable, free and appropriate education to everybody. So basing that and sort of merging with our Innovate EDU's kind of tech background, here we are today. We are now almost 140 partners strong. We have our resource library. We also have a tech tool library, and I'll explain the nuances between those two in a few slides. And in addition to kind of just collecting and curating resources, we also create our own. We do webinars, podcasts, case studies, and one of the most exciting things that we do are some in-person initiatives that definitely had to take a little bit of a backseat, or kind of we had to wait to see how things were going to evolve during the COVID pandemic. And now we are sort of rocking and rolling through some really exciting stuff. As I said, EALA is leading the development of resources, content, partnerships, and initiatives to bring awareness of the challenges and opportunities. We focus on K through 12 education, but we are growing and expanding our resources for transition, higher education, career, and beyond, because being a student with a disability or a learning difference doesn't stop when you graduate the 12th grade. There's plenty of ways to support and be inclusive through all stages of learning. So my focus for this session, for bringing this to the CCSSO Inclusive Web Series, is this idea of the network of networks approach. Being able to bring together being able to expand your community and be able to bring a diverse set of voices and content to your organization. So some organizations are focused primarily on maybe professional development, teacher training. So now through EALA, they're also connected to folks who their area of expertise is edtech tools or accessibility. Or if you're somebody who focuses primarily on parent advocacy, but you want to be connected to someone who understands special education law and policy, now you're in the same community of EALA and you're able to connect and interact and work together. You know, I mean, it's amazing to see folks come together from all different sectors or all different parts of the world of education. So something that was really great as I was looking through the chat, who's in the room? We asked earlier who you are, what's your organization or what school you're with or what district you're with. And I would also like to know, anyone in there, if you are familiar with EALA. Have you ever heard of us before? Have you ever worked with us before? So let's just take a little moment while I catch up as well in the chat to see who's in the room. We've got Union County Public Schools, Cynthia Curry, Director of Technical Assistance at CAST. CAST is a EALA partner and an EALA collaborator. TA provider, oh, my skirt's a little intact. King Kids Academy, Pacer Center in Minnesota, NCEO, NCDIP, couple more folks from King's Kids Academy. Cynthia, of course, is familiar with EALA, NPSD. Oh, thanks for the congratulations. Yes, it was quite a whirlwind this summer, hosting all of these great EALA events up through June. I think at the very end of June, I was at ISTE Live, and then 3 weeks later, I got married. And then 3 weeks later, I went on my honeymoon to the Bahamas. And then 3 weeks later, I was hosting EALA events again in DC and Kansas City. So it's been a whirlwind, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, so I've caught up with the chat, and I see we've got folks from both, you know, the folks who are kind of boots on the ground in the schools. We've got Arlington Public Schools, North Penn School District, cool. Val Hooten has attended a couple of other EALA sessions. And so we also have folks who are working in the, you know, from the leadership side or from the nonprofit side or the organizational side. Just kind of a snippet of, or kind of an example of the way that EALA brings different folks together. And now, you know, we're all in the room together, which is part of what I love about this work. Got a couple of, I'm sure we have more first timers here. So great. Thanks, folks. Thanks for the little check-in roll call. And anybody who's watching this back on a recording, you know, reach out to us at the end. I'll give our contact information. We want you involved in the EALA-verse, the EALA extended universe, as I call it. So as we're working through these next couple of slides and the rest of my information, my focus today is how does EALA help develop your inclusive leadership? How does it help develop inclusive leadership? What are the ways that interacting with EALA, sharing resources, reaching out across the table, across the country sometimes to work with other folks? My goal is to really show that bringing that diverse set of voices and content to your organization will only make your work better, stronger, and help you really understand your and find your inclusive leader voice. And I have some own examples from my own work as we get a little bit deeper into today. So here is a collection of all of our partners. In fact, I think this might even be missing one or two of our most recent ones. I just love to be able to look at this and see. We ensure their logos, so it doesn't tell you everything you need to know about a partner, but you know, it's a great collection of folks. CCSSO is right there, and maybe some folks that you've worked with or that you recognize or you've been in contact with. These are the folks that throughout the past 3 years that EALA's been around, they've you know, signed up to become an official partner, and I'll explain a little bit more later about how you do that. And they've contributed resources, or we've worked together to create a resource, or they've simply, you know, sometimes bandwidth is a real thing, and all you can do kind of this month or this quarter or this year is, you know, share a tweet, come to the partner call, share out an update, and that might be kind of the extent of your ability to you know, interact with EALA at the time, but it's an open door and it's a no cost membership. So you get in, you get out what you put in. So it's great to see all these different folks at the table. And yeah, you know, it's all different organizations. You've got folks who are, you know, you got leadership organizations, You have districts and schools and large national orgs, smaller startups. We're really trying to focus on bringing a diverse set of voices to the EALA team. So these next couple of slides, I'm going to go through and just kind of clarify a little bit more about the key features of EALA. What's on our website? What can you interact with right now if you wanted to walk away or share this with your teachers, share this with your team? I would say start with the resource library. This is kind of our flagship piece de resistance. It's a free searchable database, thousands of resources, and they're tagged so that they're easy to search by topic and topic or age group or audience or type. Maybe you're looking specifically for a video. Maybe you're looking specifically for a web-based resource. Maybe you're looking for an infographic. Multiple means of giving out information is something we strongly believe in, that UDL lens. So there's lots of different ways of accessing the information we have here. It's curated from what we call best-in-class providers. I'm the networks lead, but I also have a colleague who's the content lead, and they're combing through our submission. We get resources submitted to us or recommended to us, or we're going out, we're staying on top of newsletters and studies and kind of industry reports to make sure that we're bringing the best of the best to you all. And everything in there is free. We don't put anything in the resource library that is behind a paywall. So I highly recommend, that's the first place you should start. Search, filter, look for whatever you're looking for. I was using this when I was working at Innovate EDU, but as the after school director. But before I worked for EALA, I remember my staff was really they were really struggling with maintaining they were really struggling with understanding the ins and outs of an IEP or a 504 plan. And understandably, they were not, my staff, they were not licensed and certified teachers. They were after school instructors, they were coaches, they were dance teachers, they were artists. So I was able to find in EALA, the EALA Resource Library, some great free online trainings that I was able to give my staff and help them at least kind of scratch the surface of understanding how to effectively use a student's 504 plan or their IEP, even in a recreational setting. So yeah, I've used EALA. I can vouch for the usefulness and the functionality of the resource library. So what's next is the tech tool library, which is a little bit different. And I like to, thank you. I see CCSSO. Thanks, Crystal, for dropping some links in the chat. I love that. So the tech tool library is a different tool. This is a different, I like to think of this as a directory. This highlights over 100 accessibility statements and features from popular edtech tools, the stuff that you're probably using in your classroom already, or some stuff maybe that you've never heard of before, but you want to know, okay, how do I use, let's say I want to use Kahoot, or let's say I want to use Blackboard in my classroom, and I want to make sure that I'm familiar with and aware of all the different accessibility features, and how I can make this tool work for all the students in my room. You can check out EALA's tech tool library. You can search for your tool and see if it's there, and click into it to see how to use it. So not all of the tools here are free, right? Some tools are, this is part of the organization themselves or the tool themselves. And so it's not necessarily an endorsement from EALA of, we recommend this product or we're selling this product. It's nothing like that. We're just trying to sort of collect all the information in one place so that educators, school leaders, you're not you're not scrambling and doing a Google search and getting kind of lost in the back ends of a web page to figure out how do I make this product work for my students. We try to collect it all there for you. And we're also really big on making sure that we're clear on badges and certification. We have a learner variability certification, Project Unicorn Pledge, research-based design unification certification, and there's more that have been added to or we're in development for. So this is a place to go if you're looking for a tech tool and to see how does this work? Can I use it in my classroom? Is this accessible for all of my students? So I strongly suggest if that's kind of your lens, if tech tool is your lens, check it out. Also, even if it's not, check it out. I've learned a lot. I definitely didn't come from a tech background. I've learned a lot working for EALA the past almost 2 years. So it's a great place to start. Okay, this is a piece of EALA that I'm very passionate about and very excited about because I lead a lot of the webinars and I lead a lot of the podcasts. If you've ever listened to an EALA podcast, you've definitely heard my voice. Hi, this is Aurora from EALA. What we're really committed to is highlighting content and amplifying the voices of our partners and our collaborators. So if you've
Hello.
got hello, yes. Oh, sorry. So we are committed to amplifying the voice of our partners and the work that you're all doing. So all of the over 115 webinars, dozens of case studies. I think we're well past 60 podcasts by now. It might be up to 70. We just hit 4,500 listens on our podcast, which is incredible. Because when I started in this position last July, we were at about 900 downloads. And so just within the past, 15 months, we've grown almost 5 times. So it's really great to see what happens when we're sharing the collective genius in the room. Something that's really important to highlight here is that we specifically think about 2 distinct audiences when we're doing these webinars, these podcasts, and these case studies. We think practitioner and we think policy. And I mean, we all know that there's a lot of overlap between those two, right? There's really no way to sort of separate practice from policy or practitioner from policy. But some quick examples of webinars that we've targeted for a policy-based audience, tearing down the wall between general education and special education. That was hosted by EALA, featuring experts from knowledge work and think inclusion. Another one that I really loved is what does inclusive education really mean, from MCIE. We all say inclusion a lot. We talk about inclusion. I've certainly been in schools and in trainings myself where someone's talking about inclusion, and then sometimes it's not really exactly happening the way that you think it is. So the experts at MCIE gave a really great overview through that policy lens, through that implementation lens of what does it mean? How do you do it? How do you bring accessibility to your district? How do you bring accessibility to your school? Another great example, rethinking high school with Mary Ryers of XQ. They're a great partner. XQ, they're an early partner. So yeah, these are just some examples of more policy focused webinars and content that we have out there. But we also have things like using accessible media in your classroom. It worked for me. Different things that focus on practitioner or things that you can put into practice today, tomorrow, next week. So we try to, provide everybody with a wide range of different access points and entry points. And again, all these webinars are free. You can watch them. You can watch them back on our YouTube page. Give us a follow, give us a like. We're always trying to sort of grow our audience and our numbers, but everything is free and open access. We want everyone to have access to this information. Oh, here she comes. Marshmallow the cat has decided it's her time to shine. And we're almost through this section of what does EALA do? and I'm going to talk about the initiatives. This is something I feel like with every slide, I keep saying, oh, this is near and dear to my heart, or oh, this is my favorite part. But this really is one of my favorite parts of working for EALA and what EALA does. Don't tell the other parts. Initiatives. For a long time, our initiatives were web-based or online or through Zoom. And we still do offer that as a kind of a hybrid or a way of bringing folks together from across the country. But we are so excited to be able to move forward and start bringing folks together in person. We've got these annual community-based initiatives to engage with EALA partners and educators. And the way to get involved with some of these is to, on our website, we have an initiatives page, and each of these initiatives have their own subpage or their own page on our main website. And there's a link to learn more. You can sign up for updates or just let us know that you're interested by sharing your email. But mostly these are targeted for, or these are really designed with the EALA partner in mind. So the community of action is it's a community of practice that we rebranded. It's not a think tank, it's a do tank. The community gets together once a year and elect, and it's community elected funded solutions. So folks are coming from across the country, and all different EALA partner organizations are getting together, putting their heads together, coming up with a plan to solve a shared challenge. And then at the end of the 36-hour event, they vote. The community votes, not EALA. EALA has nothing to do. We're the facilitators. We don't vote. This is not up to. It's not up to me. It's not up to my executive director. It's up to you. It's up to the community. Which of these projects should get the funding, or which of these projects should split the funding? Phase one was a huge success last year, and we're gearing up for phase two, where we get to bring even more folks to the table and see what comes out of it. There's lots of great content and case studies and write-ups, so that if you want to read more about how that all went down, it's there. But we were able to fund 2 projects that are out there doing something, fulfilling a need, meeting a need. It's not just a think tank, it's a do tank. And that's one of the fun parts of my job is putting together the logistics and making sure everybody's got the comforts that they're able, so that they're able to really like dig in together and create some really great stuff. Another really exciting initiative that I just got back from Chicago. I still feel like I'm trying to remember what day it is. It's a whirlwind, but the school study tours. What we do is we bring we go to a different region across the country. We started in San Diego last year. We just were in Chicago, and for the next couple of tours, we're looking at a school in the South and a school on the East Coast, just to kind of get a broad sort of survey of what's going on in American public and charter schools. What practices are they using to support students with disabilities and students who learn differently? And how can we learn from each other? So we invite educators, fully funded, if we pay for their travel and their accommodations, and we give them an all expenses paid sort of tour of the schools that we found. And we reflect and we collaborate, and they can go back in teams and maybe implement some of the things that they saw in practice. Maybe they can bring it back to their home school. Definitely looking forward to, in the future, talking about this way more and highlighting some of our findings, some of the research that we've done, the studies, the surveys that we've conducted. Would love to come back and share more of that and go really in depth into the school study tours with the CCSSO audience. But this is something that EALA does that I'm really proud of. The educators that we work with are nominated by EALA partners. So if you're an EALA partner, or if you're in the EALA universe, you might see me sending out emails. Hey, I'm looking for educators. Who do you want to nominate to come on the tour? So again, this is not an EALA decision. It's not Aurora or Erin Moat or whoever deciding who gets to go to these tours, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the community. Finally, our New Champions Fund program. This is a great way to bring new and diverse voices to the table. That's the whole point, is who out there is an up and coming or someone who's at the earlier stage of their leadership career. And are they doing the work to really advance and support students with disabilities and students of color, or students who are traditionally from marginalized or underrepresented populations. So it's that intersection of identities that, we know that, students with disabilities exist across all identities and all different communities. So we really want to make sure that we are, capturing voices from, we're not just talking to and hearing from and supporting the big organizations that are out there. I mean, we love our large national organizations. Of course, we need that too, but we're looking for the new folks out there. And so it's a scholarship program where, we look for applications. We work with judges to evaluate the applications. Again, EALA is not deciding who gets the money or who gets the scholarship fund. It's coming from the EALA universe, the judges who are deciding this. So we had a really fantastic retreat with our new champions, a leadership retreat where we kicked off their goal planning and trying to sort of, set some steps in motion for how they're going to use their funding over the next year. And yeah, this is a part that is very near and dear to my heart, getting these real world initiatives, out of just the computer and the Zoom space and, into the real world. One of the ways that, we've been talking a lot about, how does this impact your inclusive leadership, and how does this, make me a better, how does EALA, okay, I can find a resource, okay, so I can apply to go on a school study tour, but how does that make me a better leader? And a quick personal story that I'll share is, so if you can't tell, I'm a performer at heart. I went to high school in Brooklyn, and I grew up watching the movie Fame. So I've always wanted to be on stage, and I'm a very active member of several community theaters in Brooklyn. And one of them that is sort of my home base theater, that I've been working with since 2009. Love them very nearly and dearly. But as I've been working with EALA, I've been learning so much more about what it means to be truly inclusive, what it means to be really accessible. So I've been, bringing this into my personal life, where I'm coming to the meetings and saying, okay, our bathrooms are not ADA, accessible. We have 3 steps that, how do we make our space physically more accessible? How do we make our marketing materials accessible for folks who can't see the text? Or how do we make our the content more accessible? Or how do we bring that sort of that lens to everything that we're doing? So that's my little example of just working with EALA and everything that I've learned from our partners, everything I've learned from our webinars. Even though I'm on the back end and I'm delivering, I'm hosting, I've learned so much, and I'm now kind of, ruffling feathers down at the Brooklyn Heights Theater. No, not ruffling feathers. They love it. But I'm doing a little part to maybe make this tiny theater a little bit more accessible and inclusive in Brooklyn. So if I could do that at a 65-year-old theater that in the church basement, then I know that you folks out there can take this and bring this back to your schools, to your districts, to your organizations, to bring these inclusive practices there. So I'm almost at the end now of my part of the presentation. This is my favorite part. Probably said that about half a dozen times. How do I get involved? A couple of quick, easy ways. Spread the word. Visit our website, Share the website with folks that are in your network, on your, share it in your Slack channel, or follow us on Twitter or X, whatever, at educateall_org. We're also building up our Instagram following. We're also on LinkedIn. So that's one quick and easy way. Stay involved. That's it. Once you follow us, or check out our website, you have access to so many of the things that I shared today. Let's take it a little bit deeper. You want to share a resource. Do you have something from your organization or at your school or at your district that you think would be really helpful, and folks, should check it out? Email us resources@educatingalllearners.org. That'll go to the whole EALA team. We'll check it out. We'll vet it. And then every time we get a new resource, we like to do a quick little, shout out in our newsletter or blurb on our socials. So it's always kind of fun to get a little shout out. And finally, join the Alliance. Are you an organization, or do you know an organization that would make a great partner? This would be a nonprofit organization or a .edu or a school district or a school itself. Do you want to collaborate? Do you want to share? Do you want to be part of our EALA partner calls? Do you want to be part of the EALA community? Email me and we'll talk. And even if it's not about being exactly a partner to the full extent, maybe you want to get together and talk about a webinar, a podcast, a case study. Email me, aurora@innovate.edu.nyc.org. Let's make the connection. And with that, we are done. I am done. I hope I came in with enough time, or how am I doing on time, Crystal?
Great.
Awesome. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and then Crystal, you can take over from there.
I think at this point, we'll just open up the floor if anybody has any questions or comments. I want to thank you, Aurora, for all of these resources. I love the work that EALA is doing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about your school study tours.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to be able to bring Aurora back in the future and look into some of the things that were learned.
My email, I'll drop it in the chat right now.
Great.
And it is a little bit of a long handle. So there you go. So that's me, aurora@innovate.edu.nyc.org. We also have on the EALA website, on the upper right corner, you can sign up for updates for our newsletter. It comes out bi-weekly, twice a week. If you hate it, you can unsubscribe, but you won't hate it. It's full of free resources, opportunities. It's also great if you're working in a school with teachers, share it out with your staff, with your colleagues. Thanks, Cynthia. Yep, a refresher on what's going on at EALA.
But I have a quick question. If
Yes.
I'm at let's say I'm a state education agency worker, how can I get involved with EALA?
I would say that if you're looking for, the best thing to do would be we'll hop on a call and we'll talk through what are some of your priorities and challenges, and what are ways that you're looking for. If you're looking for specific tools or a specific problem, there's probably somebody, if I don't know the answer, there's probably somebody in the EALA network who does. So if you've got a specific challenge within your state, or if you've got a specific challenge at your organization, there's definitely somebody in the EALA-verse that I can connect you with, that I can make that connection and say, oh, you're looking for help with bringing accessibility to your classrooms. Boom, I'm going to put you in contact with so-and-so, and that way that you two can talk expert to expert. So I'm the person who's making those connections between the different areas, the different expertise areas.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I know my experiences with ELA, being able to network and make those connections is such a big deal, because I might have a question or a problem, and then there's somebody who says, oh, I have a tool for that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not about if as a state officer, you can't have all of the answers, but it's the being able to network. And sometimes networking in and of itself is, I don't know, where do I begin? How do I do that? How do I network? How do I do how do I like cold call or cold contact somebody? ELA can help with that. Like ELA can help you make that connection or help you find the right person or kind of get you started on that journey.
And then if I know some districts maybe that are trying to get some things started, I see you guys have a lot of opportunities for districts and schools.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Some of our partners are they're looking to partner with districts and schools to bring, I mean, I'm always getting requests like, hey, I'm trying to do a pilot, it's free, I want to bring it to a district or a school. But sometimes you're trying to do a cold call and somebody hears free and they're, what's the catch? And so it's kind of like that vetting, right? Like, hey, you're a district and you're looking to bring this great free computer science program to your school. I know somebody who does that. They're a great nonprofit org. They're an ELA partner. I trust them. You two should talk. Just so being able to kind of make those connections with, um, a lot of our ELA partners are they have a service, they have a curriculum, they have a product that they're not necessarily looking to sell, but they're looking to partner with a district or a school to get it into the hands of teachers and students.
About that. Do we have any more questions before we wrap it up for the day? I want to thank everybody for coming. Your participation is so appreciated in this Inclusive Leadership Webisode series. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Be on the lookout. I will be sending out more emails. I'll send out a follow-up to this webisode, including the slides from today's presentation and a link to the recording. So if you know of anybody who would benefit from any of this information, please share that with them. And I think, yeah, and Aurora's got her email in the chat. So if you have any further questions about how to get involved with the Alliance, please reach out and let me know if you have any questions, and we can give you all the resources, or as many as we can.
Maybe as we could fit into an email. Thank you so much, Crystal, for hosting me today.
Thank you, Aurora. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you for all of the work that you do.
Happy to do it. Thanks, everybody.